Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. I'm the niche fragrance collector, and today is all about the sweet smell of tobacco. Now, it's interesting that, what does tobacco smell like? I don't like the smell of cigarette smoke, but yet I love the smell of a beautiful tobacco fragrance. And one thing that's characteristic across all these fragrances is that tobacco has a slight ambery, woody, floral component to it. There's an earthy warmth to the smell of tobacco. 2017 was a pivotal year for me. I discovered there was such a thing called niche perfumery. If you want to hear the complete story, have a look here. I talked about citrus and how I came across the perfume house of Santa Maria Novella. Now, one thing that I didn't disclose on that video that I did, I made it sound like I just walked out with one perfume, you know, the classic Santa Maria Novella. I walked out with multiple bottles of perfume, and one of those fragrances was Tabacco Toscano, which inadvertently started my love affair with tobacco style fragrances. So when I actually came across Tabacco Toscano, I had no idea that you could use tobacco as a scent in the actual, in a fragrance. As you notice, I don't have a sprayer on this. I do love, this is the original bottle that I bought when I was in the store. Now, just so you know, that store, where I actually got it from, in Florence, is about to celebrate, or has celebrated, 800 years of operation. So that, honestly, it's like a museum. The fragrances, they were around this like an altar. And the lady walked in and literally sort of stood up like it was a religious experience, and began to show me the fragrances. I bought multiple fragrances in that one instant. And I fell in love, actually, my wife fell in love with this one instantly. The characteristics of this for me, when it opens up with just a very fresh, very bright opening. It migrates then to like a woody place. And finally, it actually settles into like a leathery tobacco style of fragrance. There are vanilla notes in there. There are ambery notes in there. But this never dries down heavy. It doesn't go to a leather place. There's still an aromatic sort of floral lightness to the actual fragrance. It does have that leathery sort of component to it. It does have some woody components to it. I would categorize this as a light tobacco fragrance. So a fun fact with all this, on my last video I talked about how Caterina de' Medici was connected to the very first fragrance that Santa Maria Novella created, which is, it's now called, and I found out through subscribers going, what is this fragrance that you're referencing? It's called Acqua della Regina. And that's the new name, and I guess it's to commemorate the fact that it was a perfume made for Caterina de' Medici, who became, I think she obviously became a queen in France, or married the king of France. I don't know the history there, so I'll put something here. So Caterina de' Medici would use the tobacco leaf as a way to help out with migraines. And it was a Jean Nicot who discovered this. It became known as Herba Catarinaria, which was the type of the tobacco leaf. That was the name it was given. And Jean Nicot, it's a way to commemorate him, hence we get the name nicotine. Bada bing, history lesson and perfume discovery at the same time. Anyway, but Tabacco Toscano, awesome fragrance, was my first introduction to all things tobacco. I didn't know what I loved about it. I just knew that there was something in there that I loved so much. Gorgeous fragrance, absolutely love it. As you can see, I use it sparingly because I bought it in that 800-year-old store. I know I can buy more, but that's my special one. The next one is Zaharoff's Tabac. Now, I want to point out that if you are new to niche and not sure where to commence your journey, I would recommend to you grab any of the Zaharoff fragrances. These are a great place to commence. Okay, so now if you are new to tobacco, this is a beautiful, complex, but really appealing tobacco fragrance. And there's nothing here that you'll go, I don't think this is for me because of this or because of that. The Zaharoff fragrances that use lavender is a consistent note as an opening. And in this case here, I do get that aromatic, bright opening in the actual fragrance. For me, it then migrates to a honeyed place, so it becomes it becomes sweet, not very sweet. I was about to say very, but it's not very. It becomes sweet and honeyed-like. Finally, it settles into this beautiful vanilla tobacco place. On skin, it works really well. Now, I was wearing this in the height of our summer. It came out in January, February, or that's when I got my bottle. And I wanted to test drive it. I want to see what it was like. And it was like crazy, ridiculous hot day. I was wearing this and it was actually playing really well. It wasn't too heavy. It wasn't too woody. It played wonderful in that weather. And actually I can smell those tobacco components to it. That aromatic, woody, slightly floral with the vanilla. Gorgeous fragrance. If you are new to tobacco or even new to niche, I would definitely check out the Zaharoffs. I would actually recommend to you a Tabac. Great fragrance, summer, winter, plays well all year round. All right, the next one here is, this is probably, I fell in love with this very, very early. So as I said, 2017 is when I first discovered such thing as niche. And then I got drawn in by these beautiful characters. I mean, the Penhaligon bottles, these portraits, they're just gorgeous. All the different fragrances are defined by a different animal. So this is Roaring Radcliffe. And Roaring Radcliffe is all about sophistication. Now I'm going to tell you this. On card, this does not smell great. I'm smelling it here. And, all right, I put it on. On skin, this is where the magic is. Funny, I'm smelling that on card and it smells kind of like, interesting. On skin, this is divine. What I love about this one here, it's super inviting from the very beginning. It has a sweet opening. I'm a sucker for honey. Honey and fragrances, and for me, the honey comes through very quickly. Finally, it settles into like a gingery style of tobacco. You can get that woodiness, that aromatic component of the actual tobacco, but it has a gingerness coming through with that honey component. This is warm, this is spicy on the body. It's not overtly spicy. I'm going to come to that in a second, but there is a spicy element. I mean, I shared this with, for those who know the Aromatic Kid, I shared this with him. Here's the link. We did a video, and he couldn't get off the fact that it smelled like gingerbread. He kept saying gingerbread and gingerbread. And there is a cake-like quality to it. So there is a sweetness in there that is very Moorish, very inviting. I actually said, and this is still my opinion, as a first date fragrance, this would be pure magic. You would, I'm going to say you would intoxicate the person that you're seeing. This is comfortably a male or female. Forget the motif that's on here, so the lion. I guess, you know, sometimes the lion is represented as a sort of a male motif. This can easily play as a female fragrance. Gorgeous fragrance. I've always loved it. This for me is something that I love wearing in the cooler months as a going out fragrance. I love wearing this as an all-day scent. It actually lasts really well on me. I'm getting probably about 6-7 hours comfortably. It wears beautifully on the body. Projects, I find that I have moderate projection on this particular fragrance. Actually, projection. So if I look at the Tabacco Toscano, it's a body scent. Tabac, I'm getting a moderate push on this, so it has a nice sillage. All right, the next one is Nishane. Now this one here is, I find that it's a little bit polarizing. And polarizing in my family. Some of my family members love this fragrance, and others, my wife, not so much. On card, gorgeous. On skin, I'm actually getting, sorry, I've spread it up here. So on skin, I get a wonderful rum-like opening to it. So it has a boozy sort of component to it. Notice I do love tobacco fragrances, and for me, I want to put these on skin. These are, I don't know what it is. There's something alluring about there's a sensuality, a warmth to a beautiful tobacco fragrance. So on skin, I'm getting a rum kind of boozy sort of opening. It does, I mean, I had, because I sprayed it earlier, it then goes, it migrates across to this coconut, fruity kind of place. And then finally it settles into the tobacco, but the tobacco is actually a little bit musty. And this is why my wife doesn't enjoy it. So she has a nose for, and there's no patchouli here, but she has a nose for that patchouli, musty sort of component. There is oak moss, and I think that maybe the oak moss, because the tobacco is kind of wet, that sort of under earth style of note that sometimes can be associated to oak moss. I like it. I actually enjoy wearing this. This is now, I believe that you could say that it's a female fragrance. I mean, there's nothing in here that sort of gives it a masculine lean to it, I don't think. I mean, a woman could wear this. I'd be curious to know, any ladies, fan your flames, is something that you guys have experienced? What are your thoughts on it? Fiddah. Now, Kajal are known for Lamar and Dahab. They're the two sort of powerhouses within their lineup. It's interesting that I don't hear a lot about their other, like they widened their range, you know, the ones with the beautiful flowers on the top. I mean, some of those are just like spectacular. One is jewelry. I mean, go out, test out jewelry. I think it's phenomenal. If you're a lady and you like those bolder, woodier notes, then I would recommend go check out the whole Fiddah collection. I would recommend you start here. In my opinion, this one gets a little bit overlooked. Fiddah for me is gorgeous. I'm gonna find out where I sprayed it. Give me 1 second, because I did. Yeah, there it is. All right, so Fiddah for me, funny, I've got the cards here, but I want, as I said, I want to put these on my skin. But you know, I'll spray on card. I'll spray on card. And yeah, gorgeous. All right. So, if you want something now with spice spice like you've never had it before. So it's not a spicy fragrance, it's the star anise. When I first sprayed this, I'm like, what is that note? There's something in there that I can't classify it as spicy. It's not cardamom or nutmeg or things that I'm familiar with. And honestly, it was doing my head in. I'm like, what is this note? So the star anise, it has a star anise opening with some fruits. It creates this most amazing, complex, but yet so alluring and inviting opening to a fragrance. I've never experienced anything like it. Already, it's beginning to evolve now. I'm getting some honey notes. Mind you, I don't think there's even honey in here, but I'm getting like sweet, sort of honey-like notes. I know that it does have like a leather accord in the heart, and it could be that leathery note that's playing in there. For me, I find that this starts off beautifully spicy. That star anise is creating, but it's spicy with fruit. So it's not this, it's not a classic sort of, you know, your nutmeg or something of that nature, or cardamom or something like that. It's the star anise mixed in with the fruit, creates this wonderful fruity, spicy opening. It then migrates to a leather, and finally it goes down to this beautifully ambery tobacco. Woody, but floral, but a little bit of spice in there. I recently shared this, so we did an evening at Oligarch, and I mentioned in that lineup that this was my pick. I said to Kevin, I want to put Fiddah in that collection, in that range. I recently had a message from one of the people who participated, thanking me. You're welcome. This is for Max. Thanking me for putting this particular fragrance forward. He's like, I didn't realize how involved and complex and alluring this particular fragrance is. If you like tobacco, then check out Fiddah. You'll be surprised at how impressive and how overlooked, underrated, hidden gem this particular fragrance is. Last one. Okay, so this little bottle here is probably one of the greatest finds that I've had in my short experience as the niche fragrance collector. I first came across this, I was introduced to this by Laura. We did a series of videos together, and I believe that this was in the Seduction. Actually, I'll put it here. I can't remember. We did a few, you know, best fragrances for bride, for groom, yada yada. And I'm pretty certain that this went into the Seduction category, or it could have been a hidden gem. Anyway, so this little bottle, I would encourage you, the only catch is this. If you've been in niche for a while and you understand the complexity of a perfume and how it evolves and moves, that just takes you on a journey, then I would encourage you to seek out Eau de Sorail. Is actually in reference to the harem, which has, I guess, all those lusty seductions of food and women. The overindulgence, that's the word. The overindulgence of this particular area. I actually have this on today, so I'm gonna put it on where I put it on my body. I think I've mentioned to you that I spray on my stomach, I spray it on and I just sprayed it on my chest. I can smooth. Look at that. Oof, what a magical fragrance. All right, so this one here, sorry, I feel like I'm speaking like you're in front of me. When Laura first shared this with me, I thought, this is gross. This is over the top. It starts off. I'm not a fan of overripe fruit, so I like, if I'm gonna have my fruit, peaches, anything that can go soft, with peaches, melons, things of that nature, mangoes. I don't like them overripe. It has a flavor that is overpowering. So when the fruit gets really ripe, it's like the actual fruit on overdrive, and it's too much for me. So this is, I would only define the opening as overripe fruit. It's just over the top. It's just way too much. For me, there's a mango note, there's like an apple note that is just, it's just too much. It's just way too much. And I remember when I first smelt it, I'm like, this is not appealing. There's nothing in here. She's like, she actually told me to shut up. She's like, no, shut up. This is probably one of the greatest perfumes that is actually out there at the moment. Anyway, I trusted her good judgment. I mean, this is a very wise woman. She loves perfumes. And this is what she has studied. So I'm like, I'll just shut up and follow her lead. That opening of overripe fruit, that lusciousness that's there, it doesn't dry down. It seeps. It seeps down into your body. It actually becomes, you need to experience it. This is probably one of the most amazing, complex, just really super intense tobacco fragrances that are out there. It starts off, as I said, very fruit, very over the top, very luscious when it comes to its fruit note that's in there. Then it migrates to a boozy place. It does go a bit boozy, whiskey, it's actually quite divine. And then finally it settles into this beautiful tobacco, this honey tobacco, sweet components to it. Spectacular fragrance. I definitely would recommend to you Eau de Sorail, Naiomi Goodsir. Sensational fragrance. If we look at this as a lineup, if you're new to niche, I would recommend, and you're new to the scent of tobacco, start here. Tabacco Toscano, very appealing, easy to come into. This is where I started, and I found in love with that tobacco note. I would then migrate across to Tabac. It's a very appealing fragrance. It's also really, I think you're getting really good value for money when it comes to all the Zaharoff range, and in this particular case, definitely. And then start to move across to these other ones. These ones here are definitely more warmer style fragrances, so in cooler weather, these plays really well. For me, these two here, all year long, summertime, anytime you want. That's it. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed that tobacco where it's at. I don't smoke, but yet I love the scent of tobacco in my perfumes. Go figure. Thanks, everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. We'll see you all on the next episode.